All right, guys, how we doing today? We're going to talk about prime lenses and we're going to talk about zoom lenses. So we're going to talk about, with respect to photographing and videotaping waterfalls. All right, I, think they're kind of cool. We've got a few here in the Chicagoland area, Chicago, outside of Chicago a little bit. And today, we're going to talk about Matthiasson State Park, and that's about an hour or so outside of Chicago. Um, when it comes to prime lenses, okay, prime lenses, one of the things they've got for them is they're usually a little bit faster than a zoom lens, so they let in more light, okay? And sometimes this can be useful for you. Obviously, they're also generally smaller and lighter. Okay, this is another benefit of the prime lenses. And the zoom lenses, all right, you've got a whole bunch of different focal lengths all in one nice, convenient package. All right, so one of the nice things about this is it kind of does a whole lot of everything. Okay, you can do more your wide shots, your telephoto shots. And the other thing about a lot of zoom lenses is you can focus closer. Now, this particular one, it's not a macro lens. So again, it gets super close, but you can get a little bit closer, especially if you want to do like some details and flowers and things like that. This is all built in. And that's one of the things that I find handy for a lot of situations. Okay. Now this one is a little bit darker. So this is a 1.8 and this is a 2.8, fixed 2.8 throughout the whole zoom range. So this is a micro four thirds 17 f 1.8. And this is a 12 to 40 micro four thirds f 2.8. So we get a whole stop difference, all right? And because of the noise of the water falling, okay, and I'm going to do kind of a voiceover. So I'm going to have my video and my still pictures, and we're going to talk about these two guys and where in particular situations, one can be more useful than the other. All right? So we'll see you in the next clip. How we doing, guys? We are in Matthiasson State Park in Illinois, and we are chasing waterfalls. Come on with me. Okay, in this first scene here, I'm using a Olympus 17 millimeter 1.8. And this lens is great. It's small. You can carry it anywhere. And it's pretty fast. I didn't realize how dark it was going to be in this canyon this day. Yes, it was overcast, but yes, it's 9 o'clock. And because it was a narrow, deep canyon with a bunch of trees overgrowing across the span, not a lot of light was getting to the bottom. So I want you to consider what lens you're going to bring and how you're going to tell your story. Okay? And so what I had to do, because the zoom was a little bit darker, it was an f2.8 instead of a 1.8, you had to go ahead and take this camera and set it from 200 to 400. So I had to turn up the ASA just to get a good video. And it didn't really matter, okay? Especially still pictures. It's not going to matter because using a tripod, that's the important part. Using a tripod, you can get nice slow shutter speeds and nobody cares. It doesn't matter. One of the things I wanted to do, okay, with this constant 2.8 zoom lens is coming up in the next clip. All right, what I did was, in addition to videotaping, but while I was videotaping, I decided to zoom while videotaping so I get a chance to see what this is like. And with the tripod, it made it super easy, guys. So the important takeaway is, I know it's a pain, but bring the tripod. You're going to be so much happier bringing the tripod. It gives you a bunch of options, okay, as far as helping to tell your story. So speaking of telling a story, I tell you how big 40 or 50 feet, and it's still kind of hard to imagine that in this particular scene. So what you can do is you can put somebody in the scene so you can test the gauge of things. In the lower right corner, you'll see someone standing there. Okay, this helps tell your story and helps the audience visualize how tall things are, how big things are, or small things are, okay? And moving right along, having another lens or having a different focal length that's gets you a little bit closer, because I couldn't get super close to this particular waterfall. And this is something else to consider, having, a second lens or a third lens or whatever, just to make sure you're able to tell the story in this particular, wherever you're going, for whatever adventure you're going. So, I hope all these tips help you out, okay? And something else is to consider the weather. Make sure you have the right, for this case, waterproof boots, because we walked through water and mud and all kinds of fun stuff because of the weather we had. All right. So, wrapping things up, and I will see you in the next clip. Well, there you have it, guys. It doesn't really matter if you have a prime lens or a zoom lens, if you're creating videos or still pictures. Okay, it all depends on how you want to tell your story. And the most important thing, guys, have fun. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.